Well, we got a couple topics today we got to discuss about the Philadelphia Eagles, but also about the Philadelphia 76ers. And we need your input today on both of these topics. So, listen, let's get the reality out here, okay? I'm looking at the power rankings for the NFL. The Eagles are number one over the Buffalo Bills right now in the power rankings from The Athletic. Now, I know a lot of people or a lot of other entities would have that reversed or maybe still have Detroit in there, whatever it is. The bottom line is the Eagles, I think anybody who thinks logically, are the best team in the NFC. Therefore, if you are the best team in the NFC, and I think the Eagles are better overall than either the Lions, who are really reeling with injuries, and also the Minnesota Vikings, who I think are a wannabe, who just happen to have a good record. I think the Eagles are better than both those teams. With that, and I think that most Eagle fans would acknowledge what I just said, with that comes the burden of expectations. And so the question is, now that we think the Eagles should go to the Super Bowl, would it be a massive disappointment if they did not? See, a couple weeks ago there was and I put this out there as well, maybe they don't beat the Lions in Detroit. But I completely reversed that after I watched what I saw the Eagles do to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Eagles should beat the Detroit Lions if they have to play them in Detroit. They should beat the Minnesota Vikings if they have to play them in Detroit. Chances are they're going to get the bye. They're going to host every team, including the NFC Championships, which leaves no room for error at all. But I don't even think there is room for error now if they have to go somewhere else, because I believe that they will be favored even in that other team's ballpark. Therefore, there is no now room for me to say, well, it's okay if they lost an NFC title game. They can't lose an NFC title game now. Part of the adoration that we have for the Eagles goes to the next step, which is if we have this adoration, how could we not be devastated if they did not go to the Super Bowl? And, in fact, maybe even win the Super Bowl. Now, if they lose the Super Bowl, it's going to be a little less disappointing. But don't they have to get there? What would be the fans' level of disappointment if they did not get there at this point? And by all metrics, they are the best team. And by all national pundits, they are the best team in the NFC. I don't know where that would go. Now, attached to this is a little subtopic. The subtopic being Nick Sirianni. If you look at the Vegas odds, Nick Sirianni is not in the top 5 for Coach of the Year. Is that an outrage? The coaches that are in the running for Coach of the Year include Kevin O'Connell with the Vikings. He's done a good job. Bill's favorite coach, Dan Campbell from the Lions, who now is going to lose a lot of support because they're wilting. Mike Tomlin of the Steelers, really? After what you saw on Sunday and you saw the blunders that he made? Sean Payton, oh, please, too small, that team. And Jim Harbaugh, who just lost another game and has 6 losses. Now, are you telling me that – I can't believe I'm saying this because 4 games into the season, I was calling him a goof. How in the world can you not make the case that he should be the Coach of the Year if the Eagles are the best team in the NFC? This is what we need to decide here. And I want to get people on the record here. A, would you be devastated if they didn't get to the Super Bowl now that the expectations have been ranked up? And B, do you actually believe that Sirianni should be Coach of the Year? And that's going to make a lot of people have to eat crow. A lot of Sirianni haters out there. There are a lot of people apologize. I don't think you have to apologize for anything. You evaluate a guy at the time. You make a statement at the time. It's a valid statement. You have to apologize for making the statement that was valid at the time. But a lot of people now feel the need to apologize to Sirianni for ripping him. And I know Bill would like people to apologize. But in any event, I need these two questions answered right now. So we will go to our peeps here. Bill Colarulo is here. Ray Dunn is here. Bill, question one. If they don't go to the Super Bowl, would it be a massive disappointment, or just would it be a grimace?
Well, I'm still recovering from hearing you say Nick Sirianni should be coach of the year, so I got to gather my thoughts here. I'm so excited.
I do everything logically. I'm never going to apologize for something I said, but I look at things logically with my own two eyeballs, and I go, if this team is the best team, how could the coach not be the coach of the year? So go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm with you. To your first question, coming into the season, I would have said not winning the NFC East would have been a disappointment. A few weeks ago, I would have said just not getting to the NFC Championship game would have been a disappointment. But when you look around the NFL right now and you see what the Detroit Lions are dealing with, when you see that the Minnesota Vikings are 12-2, but you look at who they've played, and I'm still not buying Sam Darnold as a true elite quarterback, and you look at some of these other teams, and then you compare them to this Philadelphia Eagles roster that not only has a great offense that can beat you in a multitude of ways, running the football, throwing the football, two great weapons on the outside, a dynamic quarterback. You then look at this defense, and they literally have the best defense in the National Football League. They don't have any weaknesses. And I can't believe I am saying it, but it's reality. If they don't go to New Orleans, it would be a bigger disappointment than what happened to the Philadelphia Phillies this past season. As great as the Phillies were to start the year, we started to feel it down the stretch as, maybe they're not as good as we once thought. This Eagles team, our expectations are rising because they're getting better and better every single week. And this now brings it towards our Nick Sirianni conversation. Not only are they a good team on the field, this culture is phenomenal. For them to be able to handle the week that they just went through and utilize it to galvanize the team, to respond the way that they did, this culture's strong. This roster's strong. Everything about this team is strong. It's New Orleans or bust, Mike. I can't believe it.
You didn't answer the question.
What was your original
Would
question?
you be devastated if they did not get to the Super Bowl? Would it be such a colossal disappointment that you would have to reevaluate the things that you appreciated about this team, mainly the head coach not getting to the Super Bowl?
I think I would be devastated because, and this goes back to Dan Campbell. If you remember, Dan Campbell, after he blew the NFC Championship game single-handedly with the decisions, he gave a very candid post-game press conference saying, there's no guarantee that we ever get back to this point. And he said he told the guys that. It was a very candid thing to say, but it's reality. You got to take advantage of your opportunities when they're there because you look at this NFC, and with the Lions having their injuries and then really no other powerhouse in the NFC, you don't know if that's the case next year. You don't know if the Eagles have to battle more injuries next season or other teams improve their rosters in the offseason. So it would be devastating because there's no reason why they don't get there. The path is there. What barrier do the Eagles have right now to get to New Orleans? It's really just themselves, isn't it? I mean, if they play their game, who do you look at in the NFC and say, yeah, they could beat the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm not seeing it anymore.
Nobody. There's nobody. We've come to that conclusion. Sunday, two things happened. The Lions wilted and are wilting, and the Eagles got stronger. So there is no reason that they shouldn't go to the Super Bowl, which is why I'm asking. Now they've set themselves up for that. So if they don't get there, it's a lot of people think that's unfair. It's not unfair. Once you establish yourself as the best team, it is not unfair now for the fan base to have the expectations that you got to go further.
Yeah, but let's play this out. Assuming they are the 1 seed, you're going to have a home game in the divisional round. You'll have a home game in the conference championship. Even if they're the 2 seed, You're going to have a home wild card game against the 7 seed, which will probably be the Commanders. And then you have a home divisional playoff game. And then maybe you're going to Detroit. Maybe you're going to Minnesota. I'm not even sure that Detroit or Minnesota goes to the conference championship.
Well, but even if they do have to go there, what I'm saying
there still should be favorites. I'm with you.
Right. They're the better team. All right. Well, we'll talk about this. Ray, I got to ask you, as the younger guy in this threesome here that we have in the studio, would you be devastated now if they didn't get to the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know you'd like to think that I would have that longer view of like, hey, this could be something that happens. I've been scarred now by the thought of it's just going to keep happening for my team. You know, this is something where it's going to build. It's tough to get into this thin air.
I'm going to tell you something else. It would go down as one of the biggest devastations that we've ever seen. Seriously, if you have the expectations that you're the best team, maybe in football, if you don't get to the Super Bowl, it will be right in that list of devastating losses, just like it was in 2002.
Oh, you're putting it on that level.
Uh-huh. All right, 610-632-0975 is how you get in. I want to hear from the people. You got to consider this now. What happened on Sunday brought the Eagles up to a different level. There is no more questioning, well, I don't know if they could beat the Lions in Detroit. Now all of a sudden Minnesota comes in, and you know that this team is better than both of those teams no matter where they play them. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. We'll talk about it after this.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out our video. If you want more from the Mike Missanelli Show, somewhere on this screen there is somewhere where you can hit the playlist. Keep interacting with us.